I used to get all worked up over prophecy, Bible prophecy, like many others. They go to these seminars and these get-togethers amongst curious participants, and they listen to their spiel from their platforms, from their podiums, and they give a pretty good case for their interpretation of prophecy. And especially the ones that believe that there's a great deal of unfulfilled prophecy. And they try to point to current events in the newspapers and on the TV and say that, oh yeah, this is a sign of Christ's soon return. And, oh, he's coming back soon because this is happening in Israel and this is happening over here and over there. And they point to certain scriptures and they try to make it apply to that situation. You see here, this is what it talks about. And you get certain people to say that horses are tanks and spears are missiles, and the locusts are I believe locusts are what prophetic book does I think that's Joel. They say that those are helicopters, and and they make a case for all this stuff, and wow, if you look at it in context, you would never come up with that if you just give it a straight read without trying to make it fit anywhere in history, except for the history in which it was written, which was, like 2,000 to 3,000 years ago. You wouldn't necessarily come up with most of those conclusions. It's only when you try to make it fit to modern times is when you take certain liberties with its content and try to make it work, and then try to make it palatable to people so they can buy into it. And then after they make it palatable to people, then they can sell it to you for a small fee. So some of it is kind of a racket, I'm presuming. I don't know if it's intentional, if they really believe it, themselves. They may really believe it, their own content themselves, but they're still trying to, get rich off of their ideas. They're still trying to make a large amount of money just to sell it to. And they need what do you call it? They need followers. They need people that buy into it. So they do have to give a good presentation. And they're pretty clever, actually, how they present the material. And I bought into it for a little while, although I wasn't as fanatical as some of the people I knew, but it definitely altered my way of thinking for a few years, until I was introduced to other angles, other theories, other interpretations, and other interpretations that were credible. Actually, they weren't like necessarily heretical. They were just and they were learned men, scholarly interpretations, not just interpretations by a common lay person, but by educated individuals. I'm glad I was introduced to those other interpretations, because it keeps me on a balanced platform, a balanced perspective.